Hello friends, today we will be studying the osteological features of the tibia bone. Now what we see here are the two tibia bones. Tibia is the second largest bone of the body. It is a typical long bone. It lies on the medial side of the leg, and during standing it is the main weight bearing bone of the leg. It can be said to be homologous with the radius of the forearm, and it is the pre-axial bone of the leg. Now, when we are saying that it is a typical long bone, we describe the morphological features as upper end, shaft and lower end. The upper end has got two condyles, a medial condyle and a lateral condyle. It has got the tibial tuberosity. Now let us see the two condyles first. Now this here is the medial condyle and this here is the lateral condyle, and between the two, this area is the intercondylar eminence, which has two projections which are called as the medial and the lateral intercondylar spines, and anterior and posterior to the articular surfaces of the condyles, we have triangular areas which are called as anterior intercondylar area and posterior intercondylar area. The medial condyle, as is seen here, is oval in shape, while the lateral condyle is circular. The medial condyle has got a superior articular surface, an anterior surface, a medial surface, a posterior surface, and a lateral surface which is continuous with the medial intercondylar spine. Similarly, the lateral condyle, which we said is circular, has got a superior articular surface. It has got an anterior surface which shows a tubercle. It has got a lateral surface, a posterior surface which also shows a facet for articulation with the head of the fibula, and it has got a medial surface which merges with the lateral intercondylar spine. So those were features of the condyles. Then we go on to see the tibial tuberosity. This is seen on the anterior aspect just below the two condyles. The tibial tuberosity has got two parts, an upper part which is smooth while the lower part which is rough. We now go on to see the shaft of the tibia. The tibia shaft shows three borders and three surfaces. The sharpest border is the anterior border, which is also called as the shin, and that's the reason why the tibia is also called as the shin bone. If you trace it upwards, it merges with the lower end of the tibial tuberosity, and if we trace it inferiorly, it merges with the anterior border of the medial malleolus. The second border is the medial border, which when traced inferiorly continues as the posterior border of the medial malleolus. The third border is the lateral or the interosseous border, and when we trace it inferiorly, it merges with the anterior border of the fibular notch. So the three borders are anterior, lateral and medial. So the three surfaces would be anterolateral surface, which is there between the anterior and the lateral borders, anteromedial surface which lies between the anterior and the medial border, and a posterior surface which lies between the lateral and the medial borders. The posterior surface of the tibia shows the obliquely running line, which is the soleal line, which runs downwards and medially, and as it reaches the medial border, it meets it at the junction between the upper 1/3 and the lower 2/3 of the shaft of the tibia. Then we go on to see the features of the lower end. The lower end has got 5 surfaces: an anterior surface, a triangular lateral surface which shows the fibular notch inferiorly, a posterior surface which is also triangular, a medial surface which continues down as the medial malleolus, and an inferior surface which is the articular surface. We then go on to see the medial malleolus. This is a projection seen coming down from the lower end of the tibia, or a projection coming down from the medial aspect of the lower end of the tibia. It has got 4 surfaces and 1 border. It has a small anterior surface, a medial surface, a small posterior surface, a lateral surface which is articular, comma-shaped articular surface, that's the lateral surface of the medial malleolus, and it has got a well-defined inferior border. So these are the morphological features of the tibia. Now, keeping these in mind, let us identify which side this tibia belongs to. The condyles lie superiorly, while the medial malleolus lies inferiorly. The anterior border is the shin or the sharpest border. The posterior surface lies posteriorly. The 2 condyles, the medial condyle is oval, while the lateral condyle is circular. Plus medially, the inferior end shows presence of the medial malleolus, while laterally the inferior end shows the facet for the fibula or the fibular notch. Thus, these features tell us that this tibia belongs to the right side. And how do we hold it in normal anatomical position? The 2 condyles need to lie in the same horizontal plane, and the shaft should lie vertically. And this is how you hold the tibia in the normal anatomical position. Now we go on to study the muscle attachments of the tibia. When we see the 2 condyles and the 2 intercondylar areas, these intercondylar areas show attachment of 3 structures anteriorly and 3 structures posteriorly. Anterior most here is the anterior horn of the medial meniscus. Then is the anterior end of the anterior cruciate ligament. Then comes the anterior horn of the lateral meniscus. While posteriorly, anterior most is the posterior horn of the lateral meniscus. Then is the posterior horn of the medial meniscus, and posterior most is the attachment of the posterior cruciate ligament. We can remember these structures as Medical College of Lahore and Lahore Medical College. So it's the medial meniscus anterior horn, then is the anterior cruciate ligament, then is the anterior horn of lateral meniscus, then comes the posterior horn of the lateral meniscus, posterior horn of the medial meniscus, and last is the posterior cruciate ligament. The superior surfaces of both the condyles are going to be having the respective menisci, the medial meniscus and the lateral meniscus lying over it. Then we go on to this tubercle which is seen on the anterior surface of the lateral condyle that gives attachment to the iliotibial tract. We then move on to the posterior surface of the medial condyle This gives attachment to the semimembranosus muscle. The facet which is seen on the posterior surface of the lateral condyle is going to articulate with the head of the fibula to form the superior tibiofibular joint. The tibial tuberosity, the upper smooth part, gives attachment to the ligamentum patellae, while the lower rough part is related to the subcutaneous infrapatellar bursa. We then move on to the attachments on the shaft. The anteromedial surface is subcutaneous all throughout except at the upper end, and here it gives attachment to three muscles. Anteriormost is the inverted hockey stick like insertion of sartorius. Behind it is the insertion of gracilis, and posteriormost is insertion of semitendinosus, and behind that this bone here gives attachment to the tibial collateral ligament. So SGS, sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus, and behind that is attachment of the tibial collateral ligament. The lateral condyle over its lateral surface is having a groove which is going to have the tendon of the popliteus muscle. We then go on to the anterolateral surface. The upper 2/3 of the anterolateral surface gives attachment to the origin of the tibialis anterior muscle. We then go on to the posterior surface. Posterior surface, we've already seen here the posterior aspect of the medial condyle giving attachment to the semimembranosus. Then we have this soleal line. The soleal line gives attachment to soleus, and this triangular area above the soleal line gives attachment to the popliteus muscle. The area below the soleal line, this entire posterior surface, can be divided by a vertical imaginary line into two areas. A medial area which is going to give attachment to the flexor digitorum longus, origin of the flexor digitorum longus, while the lateral area nearer to the interosseous membrane gives origin to the tibialis posterior muscle. These are the muscles attached to the tibia. We now go on to see the joints formed by this bone. This bone forms 5 joints. The superior articular surfaces of the two condyles will form the femorotibial components of the knee joint. And the knee joint is a compound, complex, modified hinge, bicondylar type of synovial joint. The facet which is seen here is going to form the superior tibiofibular joint with the head of the fibula, and that's a plain synovial type of joint. The interosseous border is going to give attachment to the interosseous membrane, and that is the middle tibiofibular joint. It's a syndesmosis. The fibular notch seen at the lower end is going to form the inferior tibiofibular joint with the lateral malleolus of the fibula, and that too is a syndesmosis type of fibrous joint. The inferior articular surface of the lower end along with the lateral surface of the medial malleolus will form the ankle joint with the respective surfaces of the talus, that's with the superior articular surface of the talus and with the comma shaped tubercle which is seen on the medial surface of the talus. So 5 joints formed by tibia, the knee joint, the 3 tibiofibular joints and the ankle joint. Thus we have seen the morphological features of the tibia along with the attachments and the joints formed by this bone. Thank you.